I arrived home yesterday from a 17-day silent retreat, and it was a beautiful experience. I took it at the Insight Meditation Society in Massachusetts. It's a lovely, lovely place right in the middle of so much nature. The facilities are amazing, the people are amazing, and I just want to talk about my experience. Um, I'm not really going to cater to people who don't know what meditation is, or who've never done a retreat before. I'm just going to share my experience. If you want to learn more about meditation and the technique, I'm going to make plenty of videos on this topic. I have literally like 2 pages worth of video ideas. I had so much creative energy coming out of this retreat. But I'm just going to speak to the experience. Maybe you can have a little National Geographic attitude where you're watching me talk about something that you haven't done or you're interested in. But yeah, I'm just gonna start. So I've done a retreat previously. 2 years ago, I did a 10-day Vipassana retreat under the teacher S.N. Goenka. And he's very popular. There's centers all around the world, and they're free, which is why I did it. They're totally free. There's just a long wait list. They feed you, they house you, and it costs them money. It costs them $500 worth of operating per person they accept, but it's completely donation run. It's some real communist hippy dippy shit, which is just awesome. And so I had the fortune of doing one of those, but it was very strict. Um, I did around 10 to 11 hours of meditation every day. I was like, fucking Kobe Bryant in the gym. I was putting in the hours, putting in the work. I was just super, super like high masculine energy. Masculine meaning, like production, action, perseverance, focused, less intuitive, feeling, um, grounded energy, feminine energy. Not saying one is better than the other. Just wasn't my cup of tea, honestly. I got a lot from that first retreat, but um, this this retreat was like true balance with all things. It had so much more of this feminine energy, and the only reason I'm even calling it feminine energy is because it's kind of what the teacher explained it as, and one of the teachers. There's 5 teachers part of this retreat, um, and the incorporation of that energy gave me so much value. Um, Doing that first retreat, I thought, and I was told this is the only technique. Don't, stray from the technique. Don't work out. Don't do prayer. Put everything else in your life that you do aside, all your thoughts and philosophies and whatever, and just give the technique a shot. Only do this. And that regiment and structure was really helpful in certain ways, and also really closed me off to some deeper understandings of myself I realized later down the line. And so if you have the opportunity, not hating on Goenka at all, definitely for some people, if you've got, like deep traumas, or you don't, necessarily want the nuance, of philosophical understanding and approach, it's a powerful technique. It's just as good as any other. It's a flavor of ice cream. If you like it, you like it. If it's for you, it's for you. Not hating on it at all whatsoever. Just, I already have too much masculine energy. So the feminine intuition, grounding, feeling energy is really what I needed in this retreat. Oh my God. The instructions, first of all, were so loose, which was perfect because it gave me this space to kind of play with my relationship with meditation. I realized in the first 7 days that I had so much aversion to the idea of meditating. I had so much restlessness in the experience of meditating, and that manifested. The first couple of days I was there, well, the first day I was there, first of all, I was tired as shit. I took like 3 naps the first day, and every single nap I had a dream about my phone and video games and stimulation, and that made me realize, like, holy shit, I'm like withdrawing. Like, this is, I did not have this effect on my first retreat. Like, I really have let myself go with the brain rot and the scrolling and the stimulating myself. But beyond that, I really did not want to meditate. Um, I'm a huge believer in meditation. I understand the philosophy. I love spirituality. I love Buddhism and Taoism, and honestly, any avenue of spirituality through any religion. But I did not want to meditate. I would, do it for an hour, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And so I started to develop this kind of habit where if I didn't want to meditate, I'd go to my room and I'd lay down, or I'd just sit and I'd look outside. And in those times where I tried to escape, tried to go relax, take a break, I started to accidentally meditate. Because when you relax, when you try to relax, what you realize is that your mind doesn't stop going, and the restlessness doesn't go away, and the boredom doesn't go away. And so you have to learn how to be with those things in order to relax, which becomes meditation. So my mantra actually started becoming by day 6 or 7, don't meditate. And that would help me drop in so much, because meditation at its core is relaxation. Deep, deep, embodied spiritual relaxation. You're not thinking, you're not worrying, you are just with where you are. And it feels fucking great when you come out of restlessness, when you come out of thinking, when you come out of the stress and the nonsense into that relaxation. So that feminine energy, that looseness of like, you can follow the schedule however you want, trust what your body says, trust what your intuition says. It brought me to a really special place of love for meditation, realizing that when I don't want to meditate, like, I don't have to. And that letting go of needing to makes me meditate right then and there. Just makes me drop in, makes me relax. So really developed a love for that, and I just want to give a shout out to those teachers. I'm not sure if they would prefer me to say their name out loud, but I will say that there's a book called Down to Earth Dharma, and it perfectly encapsulates this idea of this feminine energy and meditation, and it's brilliant, and the author is brilliant, and yeah. So that was my first big takeaway, is like, meditation is not fun, not exciting, not like, oh, I'm gonna level up, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get an aura. Just, it's relaxation, it's freedom from suffering. I really, really, really felt that. It was also, that first 7 days was an 18 to 32-year-old retreat, which it is so great to meet people my age who want to meditate. Like, I am in a little bit of a drought here in Wisconsin. There's not really any sanghas or communities that I've found. And so it was really cool to like actually get to connect with people after the retreat on that level. I highly recommend doing that 18 to 32-year-old if you have the chance. They have it every year. And I'll be there next year too, I think, for sure. Then the second half of the retreat, I had a little bit of a reset after the first 7 days, because they're 2 separate retreats that I sandwiched together. After the first 7 days, checked my phone, called my mom, called my dad, and admittedly fell into maybe three different 15-minute sessions of scrolling. Because when you've been meditating that long, everything is like, ugh, like super stimulating and really hits your senses full force. So I couldn't do it for that long, but just those 15 minutes, maybe that hour total that I spent scrolling, just stirred up my brain. Like, if I'm a snow globe, like the phone was a blender. I got shooken up, man. And so I went through another mini withdrawal on my first day of my 10-day retreat. Withdrawing from, the pressures of social media. Obviously, I run a decently large account on TikTok, so just all the baggage that comes with that, the baggage that comes with talking to people and people having opinions about me, in my normal relationships and the opinions I have about them, and just all these feelings just really stirred it up. And so the 10-day retreat feels very separate from the 7-day retreat. In some way, it's a continuation, but it's interesting to note that just one day of interruption can really snap you right out of a completely silent, secluded, meditation forward environment. So the lesson I learned in the 10-day retreat was, how do I say this? Many teachers will tell you that there's two wings on the bird of meditation: insight and compassion, wisdom and love. I, if you cannot tell, am a intellectual, philosophical, thinky, right, talk person. And so I did not have the wing of love, really. And in those 10 days, I slowly, painfully came to understand that it's what I needed, because I would get so into meditation, I would get so present that there would be no interruptions, and I would enter what's called samadhi, which is deep concentration where you're stringing moments together. If you can imagine that each one of these beads is a present moment, the entire bracelet is samadhi, right? The continuous presence, the continuous meditation experience. And it was beautiful. They were amazing experiences I had. But I would get to a point where I'd get so into it, space starts changing. I start feeling vertigo. I get a buzzing in my head. Lots of things are happening. It's kind of psychedelic. And I would get afraid. Like, oh, this is too deep. I don't feel like I'm in control. I don't want this to happen. I had the wisdom. I had the concentration. But for some reason, I felt fear. I felt this pull, like, I can't be here. I can't trust this. And part of that is because I've been a little bit of a experimental psychonaut in the past. I've given myself very unhealthy mantras like, I'm not real, which sent me into panic attacks of derealization, semi-psychosis. And so I was afraid, in part, that, am I doing this wrong? Am I leaning into that stuff that I did all of those years ago that put me in a really dark place? But also, more than anything, I just did not trust my own experience. And I've come to realize the solution to that is love. The solution to doubt, the solution to restlessness, the solution to all of these hindrances to being in the present moment is love, care, consideration. And I started to really connect with how I can give that to myself, how I can get in touch with my heart and expand my heart and feel my heart, how wishing well upon other people opens it, how gently walking, putting gentleness and positive volition into everything I did. The mantra for me a lot, not the mantra, but the idea was this meditation from Thich Nhat Hanh, this monk who would say, walk the earth as if you were kissing it with your feet, right? Print peace and serenity with every step, is what he would say. And those practices of metta meditation, loving kindness meditation, not as much insight focused, not as much wisdom focused, brought on this entire new dimension of meditation that I didn't know was accessible. It doesn't come with the intense moments of presence and concentration but it comes with these deep, deep understandings of letting go, these deep understandings of trust. And so I felt this balance starting to build in these last 10 days where the fear that I was having repeatedly, because this happened multiple times, where I'd get super deep, things would start to happen, things would get weird, and I'd tap out, I'd get afraid. That fear started to become closer and closer to this trust, to this love, to this equanimity and this balance. And eventually, I started to lean and go with the flow. And I really felt like the two wings of the bird were flying. I remember on the very, very last day of my retreat, at the everybody had gone to bed, and I wanted to pay homage to this particular Buddha statue. I loved this walking room. It had AC, partially, partially why, but it was also just quiet. No one went in it, and I liked the lighting, and I wanted to pay homage to this Buddha. I'd found this quartz rock that I was gonna, put it there as kind of like a remembrance thing. And so I was walking with the quartz rock in between my hands like this. This evokes a lot of compassion and love for me. This particular pose, this prayer hands or whatever you want to call it. So I was walking like this for about an hour and 40 minutes, just printing peace with every step, wishing well for everybody. People came into my mind, whoever came into my mind, my family, my pets, past relatives, past friends, people in high school that I didn't talk to came into my head, and I wished them well, and I felt my heart open, and I had this really beautiful experience. And then I sat down in front of the Buddha because I was tired of walking, and I was kind of like looking at this crystal, and I'm like, I want some closure. I know I shouldn't want that. I know that that's a craving. I know that that's pulling me out of the meditation, trying to expect something. But I have so much emotion for this room, for this experience, for these past 2.5 weeks. And so I was just kind of looking at the crystal, and I just slipped right into this space. It's kind of like the Spidey sense VFX in movies, where like you see like squiggles of like these monochromatic squiggles in all directions, kind of like, and my vision rippled, and it was like a camera lens focusing and unfocusing on this rock, and I was like, whoa, and I immediately felt fear. I'm like, I signed up for meta, right? I did not sign up for this concentration, time and space warping, whatever the fuck was happening. So I'm like looking at this rock, and I felt this fear, and then that love I'd been cultivating just so quickly, just not like go away, not push away, not shut up, but just and I just sat there. My head's buzzing, my body feels weird. Placed the rock in the hand of the Buddha. The Buddha's doing one of these poses, and walked away, made myself some tea, to the night sky, and then I went to bed. And as I laid down in bed, I almost felt as if all that meta I had cultivated, all of that love that I had been generating, I was now in the current of it. I was like in this wave pool. I was in this flow that I had been generating, that I'd stopped. I wasn't doing the meditation. I wasn't intentionally doing it anymore, but I was being carried by all that energy I'd produced. I had this momentum to me. And I was laying there in bed, feeling literally like I was in a wave pool. Like my body felt like it was being moved in all directions. And every time I'd get a twinge of fear or doubt, it would immediately snap back into like sober, hardline reality. And so I started trusting it more and more. And it felt like a trip. It felt like I was like high on weed or something. Like it was a very, very unique meditative experience. I've had a lot of experiences, and this was not insane, like time and space warping, and I'm like super present. And it was just so comforting and so lovely. And it made me really connect to how I've been unbalanced, how I work too hard, how I am too interested in the wisdom and the insight, and not with the grounding and embodied understanding of that wisdom and insight, right? It's one thing to say everything is empty, everything is an illusion, everything changes, and have these deep esoteric, like intellectual, abstract realizations. But it's another thing to feel it. Everything is empty, everything is changing, and I'm okay with it. Everything is what it is, right? And so the biggest, the big picture theme for the entire retreat was coming into this. I don't know if it's yin or yang. I don't know traditionally which one's feminine or masculine, but it's coming into the creative, at peace energy and balancing myself, really. I mean, you hear it all the time in movies and Kung Fu Panda and shit, that there's balance in everything, right? And you might think it's an exaggeration, or it's flowery, or it doesn't have substance, but balance in everything is the way. The way is the middle path. Truly, 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 in the deepest sense, balancing your energy, balancing your aspirations with your feelings, your intellectualizations with your intuitions, like your art with your labor. That is how you become happier. That is how you become more present. So it's a beautiful realization to have in the 17 days. And it just inspired me so much. It made me feel like I was coming home to myself. Like, finally, I don't have to be a hypocrite anymore. I don't have to know all this esoteric wisdom and not feel it in my bones, because I really do feel it. I do feel it on a deeper level now. Not all the way, of course, but I see what I need to lean into. I see where my path is, and I'm not afraid of it, which is so beautiful. I had such a fear for a long time of nirvana. I had a fear of enlightenment, fear of deep states of meditation. It really prevented me from meditating a lot, I think, and I really relaxed and let myself go a lot this year. And this was like a real culmination. Structured, clarity providing, process of closure for all of that. So that was my 17-day meditation retreat experience. That's what I learned on it. Totally unique to me. You're going to have a totally different experience if you go on a retreat. Every time you go on a retreat, it'll be different than the last retreat you did. That's kind of how they work, right? Because we're always changing, and we're always unfolding these deeper layers and pages of ourselves. But that's my story. Those are my 17 days. Also, the food was awesome. I've been vegetarian now for 3 weeks, thanks to IMS. All their food is vegetarian. And I maybe TMI, but like I have normal bowel movements now, which I didn't realize how important that is. And like I don't feel like shit every time after every time I eat. Like I don't feel like I have rocks in my stomach. So healthy lifestyle for 2.5 weeks for sure. It's just its own benefit entirely. Oh my God, the connection to nature, the trails were amazing. I literally sat on so many benches for just 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours, and just watched insects and birds, and it was just like, everybody's my friend. Like super hippie mindset. But yeah, that was my experience. I hope you enjoyed my story / synopsis of what I learned. Back to the regularly scheduled videos. I'm going to be posting stuff about how to do meditation, what meditation is, what love is, more specific understanding, more thorough understanding. So if you are a fan of my content, or if you like this video, stay tuned for that. That'll get posted probably today or tomorrow. And yeah, like, subscribe, support me if you enjoyed it, and take care. Bye, everybody.